Chingola, Chililabombwe, Kapiriamposhi, Kabwe, Lusaka, Kapfiwe, Choma, Mazabuka, Livingston, Chipata, Chinsali, Kasama, Mansa, Solwezi, and Mongu. Feel free to interact with us and let us know where you are watching from. Only on your Top Star Decoders Channel 91, Sun FM TV. Radio Gone Rogue. Radio Gone TV.
Win namamuli 1 million na ABSA. Play your cards right, Muntu Andy, and you could win big. Simply tap or swipe any of your ABSA cards 5 times in a month, and you could be one of 10 lucky winners to take home a cheap 10-pin in monthly prizes or walk away with a grand prize of 250,000 kwacha. Chaliroku, and you cannot afford to not get lucky. Use your ABSA card to enter the draw. Terms and conditions apply. Your story matters. ABSA.
For in-depth news coverage from across Zambia, local and national news, business, politics, and sports, this is the Sun FM News, brought to you by ABSA. Your story matters.
The news.
Hello, my name is Mwema Shanshima. The headlines. The Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development has announced that 42.6% of Zambia's land mass has been successfully mapped under the ongoing high-resolution aerial geophysical survey. Government has successfully resolved a long-standing dispute involving 390 garden owners in Chambeshi Township, Copperbelt Province, whose crops were destroyed due to a suspected stream blockage or contamination linked to NFCA Africa mining. Ministry of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Thabo Kawana has reaffirmed government's commitment to strengthening and transforming the education sector by implementing various policies and infrastructure development. The Copper Queens are set to host Namibia's Brave Gladiators in the decisive second leg of the 2026 Women Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON qualifier at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium in Ndola. Join me with the details shortly.
The news, 88.5 Sun FM.
And now, the news. The Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development has acknowledged that 42.6% of Zambia's landmass has been successfully mapped under the ongoing high-resolution aerial geophysical survey, marking a significant milestone in the nationwide initiative. Launched in July 2024, the Comprehensive Airborne Survey forms a central pillar of the government's strategic agenda to unlock the country's vast mineral potential and enhance geological understanding. According to the ministry, survey aircraft are currently operating in the northwestern province, specifically in Kasempa and Solwezi districts. Concurrently, mapping activities have commenced in Namwala, Zimba, Kalomo, and Choma districts in the southern province. Principal Public Relations Officer Shimwinda Tembo said the progress builds on the successful completion of the first major phase in August 2025, which encompassed Ilikenge and Mwinilunga districts, as well as parts of Maninga, Kabompo, and Mufumbwe in the northwestern province. The survey also extended to Kawoma district in the western province. Mr. Tembo confirmed that Exabila, the specialized firm contracted to execute the survey, remains on track to complete the exercise by mid-2026. He said upon completion, the project will yield a comprehensive geological database covering the entire country. The ministry emphasized that access to this critical data will significantly bolster mineral exploitation efforts by identifying prospective resource-rich zones and equipping investors with reliable geological insights. The initiative is poised to attract increased investment in Zambia's mining sector and catalyze broader economic growth. Kalulushi District Commissioner Joseph Piri has resolved the standing dispute involving 390 garden owners in Chambeshi Township whose produce was destroyed following a suspected blockage of a stream or contamination from NFCA Africa Mining. The affected persons claim the stream dried up abruptly, alleging that the mining company may have blocked the waterway after a suspected contamination incident. They say they rely on their produce for daily income, and the loss has plunged them into economic hardship. They emphasize that even crops meant for consumption were ruined, pushing them further into poverty. A meeting convened between NFCA management, the garden owners, and the district administration revealed that some community members had been misled by some group leader regarding the compensation process. This misinformation had caused confusion and delayed resolution. Commissioner Piri confirmed that all parties have now agreed to proceed with compensation payments. He acknowledged that while most of the gardening activities were conducted in prohibited areas, the affected individuals would still be compensated.
Community leaders representing the 390 affected garden owners along the Chambishi stream in Chambishi Township of Kalulushi District stormed the office of the District Commissioner seeking clarity on the progress of compensation payments. The gardens, which serve as a primary source of livelihood for many residents, suffered extensive damage after the stream used for irrigation was allegedly blocked due to suspected water contamination linked to NFCA Africa Mining. During the meeting, it emerged that some gardeners had been misled by individuals within their group, causing confusion about the compensation process. Kalulushi District Commissioner Joseph Piri, alongside his team, NFCA mining representatives, and community leaders, reached a consensus to proceed with immediate compensation. Piri stated that those dissatisfied with the process are free to escalate the matter through appropriate channels. But
those who are ready to be paid, let them be paid. Panute wonse abale fuokwati yokuya kukwati. Imo muri ba executive, but among imo executive tamushi batukuli abatu wala kukwati. And then monetary. So wacha wena bena twaralanda nawo kukwata. Lionse lo mulipanga ero mule chitefinko nga mulipa group chiteni involve abanene.
Senior Agricultural Officer Nancy Piri also participated in the proceedings.
With the help of the father who is a DC, we agreed. They came to Lombe Konomba if after Twaika, to Alomba Kokubaneswa NFCA, who agreed to say that Number, if you start bringing the legal things at the end of the day, we will revert to the old 35. Please, what are you going to benefit? The direction.
Paul Simumba, speaking on behalf of the affected gardeners and their leadership, expressed gratitude for the government's intervention.
But not only Garumba Chabawati, three mitotera, was Mwari to Asuka, Erufuti, no to our family on some departments are issuing of such evaluation. We are really appreciate for that because the Okwabula, now if you want to say by background, that a part of life.
Yi O-Yang, Legal and Corporate Department Officer at NFCA, confirmed that the company will compensate all affected individuals based on the outcome of the evaluation.
From the government's report, and we will take that responsibility. Even we are going to emphasize that they are cultivating within the 15 meters, which is banned by the government, but as a responsible company, we are still willing to pay that, and we hope the villagers can understand that.
The exact date for the compensation payout is expected to be announced soon. Reporting for Sun FM Radio and TV, I'm Cletus Mutoki in Kalulushi.
Information and Media Permanent Secretary Thabo Kawana today officiated at the 5th graduation and award ceremony of the Handmaid's Sisters, Our Lady of Annunciation Convent School, reaffirming government's dedication to transforming Zambia's education sector. Addressing pupils, parents, and educators, Mr. Kawana emphasized that education remains a cornerstone of national development. He announced that the government has allocated 33 billion kwacha to the education sector in the 2026 national budget, describing the investment as a bridge to a future where every Zambian child, regardless of their background, has access to quality education. He commended the graduating pupils for their hard work and perseverance, noting that graduation is a milestone for joy, reflection, and gratitude. Mr. Kawana also praised the Handmaid Sisters and the school's leadership for their unwavering commitment to nurturing learners and providing a supportive environment for academic and personal growth. United Party for National Development Copperbelt Youth Chairperson Wallen Hinyama has condemned the disruptions that occurred during the Independence Day celebrations, attributing the unrest to deliberate actions by some youths affiliated with opposition political parties. Mr. Hinyama alleged that certain individuals intentionally absented themselves from the festivities and were reportedly sponsored to incite violence. He noted that since the UPND assumed office 4 years ago, public spaces have become markedly safer, enabling citizens to go about their activities without for his consistent advocacy for peace and unity, urging Zambians to uphold the prevailing atmosphere of calm. Addressing internal matters, Mr. Hinyama confirmed that the UPND youths involved in the incident were reprimanded to reinforce the party's commitment to avoid unnecessary disruptions during national events and to contribute positively to unity and development.
I want to tell you that our colleagues, they didn't come to celebrate independence. They came to provoke the situation. So it's important that when there are national events, let us coexist and maintain the peace which the president and the new government has provided. Otherwise, it was regrettable and unfortunate, and I don't think that can be condoned. And even our youth who were retaliating, we reprimanded them and told them to stop the violence. People are coexisting. There's no violence in marketplaces, in stations as it were. So we just want to ask upon our colleagues as we head into the general elections next year.
Transparency International Zambia has called on citizens and national leaders to reaffirm their commitment to the principles of integrity, unity, and accountability as the country. Executive Director Maurice Nyambe described the country's 61st independence anniversary as both a moment of national pride and a time for critical reflection on Zambia's progress and persistent challenges. While acknowledging the country's continued peace and democratic stability, Mr. Nyambe noted that issues such as corruption, inequality, and institutional weaknesses remain barriers to inclusive development. He underscored the need for ethical leadership and robust governance systems that uphold fairness, justice, and transparency in public resource management. Mr. Nyambe emphasized that the celebration of independence should transcend ceremonial observance, serving instead as a catalyst for collective action toward a just and accountable society. Highlighting the role of citizens in preserving democratic values, he urged the public to actively demand responsibility from elected officials. He reiterated that good governance is fundamental to sustainable development and national progress. The United Party for National Development Leadership in Northwestern Province has declared that it will not permit mining firms holding artisanal mining licenses to displace farmers in Kasempa's Ndengwe area and Mufumbwe's Kikonge gold mine sites without due compensation. Speaking during a media briefing in Solwezi, UPND Provincial Youth Chairperson Bruce Kanema emphasized that possession of an exploitation license does not grant mining firms the legal authority to evict farmers from their land. Mr. Kanema urged district commissioners in both Kasempa and Mufumbwe to urgently address the concerns of affected peasant farmers. He alleged that some individuals with exploitation licenses have already displaced farmers from their land in the Kikonge and Dengwe areas.
Bad in Dengwe, it is bad in some parts of Kalumbira and parts of Solwezi, where some so-called investors have taken over the farms for the farmers without, actually I would say that with impunity. You go and start mining in the farms in October. Where will the farmer find a farm in November and start growing maize? We cannot conduct business like this. This is not business. It is now trying to decampaign the UPND government, the same government.
As final end of year examinations commence, Joint Teacher Union Chairperson for Chingola, Sitali Nyambe, has called on teachers, parents, and pupils to uphold integrity and avoid engaging in examination malpractices. Speaking to Konkola Radio News, Mr. Nyambe revealed that during a recent teacher orientation, educators were cautioned that any involvement in exam-related misconduct would attract disciplinary action. He stressed that examinations are a vital component of the education system and any form of interference risks eroding public trust. In his capacity as Dean of Teachers in the district, Mr. Nyambe expressed confidence that teachers would maintain professionalism by adhering to the Ministry of Education's Code of Ethics. He further appealed to parents and guardians to encourage their children to remain focused and refrain from dishonest practices both inside and outside the examination room. Mr. Nyambe reiterated that safeguarding the credibility of examinations is a shared responsibility essential to preserving the integrity of Zambia's education system.
We will not be on the side of a teacher who will indulge himself or herself in forms of examination malpractice. It is our sincere hope and belief that our teachers are going to uphold the highest level of professionalism and maximize on diligence and adhere to the code of ethics in the education sector and the civil service. We appeal to our parents, we appeal to our guardians, also to help our learners, because these learners are found in our homes. Sometimes examination malpractices may be done even in the homes. So please, parents, guardians, can you advise our pupils to desist from any form of malpractice?
We'll take a break. When we return, we have more in sports news.
Win muli 1 million na ABSA. Play your cards right, Muntu Andy, and you could win big. Simply tap or swipe any of your ABSA cards 5 times in a month, and you could be one of 10 lucky winners to take home a cheap 10-pin in monthly prizes or walk away with a grand prize of 250,000 kwacha. Chaliroku, and you cannot afford to not get lucky. Use your ABSA card to enter the draw. Terms and conditions apply. Your story matters. ABSA.
In sports news, the Copper Queens are set to host Namibia's Brave Gladiators in the decisive second leg of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON qualifier this Sunday at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium in Ndola. With a 4-2 advantage from the first leg in Johannesburg, Zambia enters the match with momentum but remains focused on finishing the job at home. Head coach Nora Haptu has emphasized the importance of discipline and tactical execution, particularly set pieces and defensive organization. She noted that while the team is excited to play in front of home fans, they must remain grounded and consistent over the full 90 minutes. Haptu also highlighted the team's intention to play with offensive fullbacks and adapt tactically by converting wingers and holding midfielders into wide defensive rows. While star striker Rachel Kundananji, who netted a hat-trick in the first leg, expressed confidence in the team's readiness and hunger to qualify. She described the atmosphere in camp as focused and motivated, stating that the players are determined to give fans a reason to celebrate. Kundananji's attacking partnership with Grace Chanda and Rachel Nachula proved lethal in the first leg, and she believes the team can replicate that performance in Ndola. On the opposing side, Namibia's head coach Woody Jacobs has not considered defeat. Despite the 2-goal defeat, Jacob remains optimistic, stating that his team is mentally prepared and eager to make history by qualifying for their first ever WAFCON. He acknowledged Zambia's pedigree but insisted that football is decided on the pitch, not on paper. Jacobs believes his squad has the resilience and tactical discipline to overturn the result and cause an upset. The match kicks off at 15 hours. The winner over 2 legs will qualify for the Morocco 2026 WAFCON scheduled for March next year. The tournament also serves as a qualifier for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup in Brazil, with the top 4 teams earning automatic berths. And on that sporting item ends our news. Before we go, a recap of the stories making headlines. The Ministry of Mines and Minerals Development has announced that 42.6% of Zambia's landmass has been successfully mapped under the ongoing high-resolution aerial geophysical survey. Government has successfully resolved a long-standing dispute involving 390 garden owners in Chambeshi Township, Copperbelt Province, whose crops were destroyed due to a suspected stream blockage or contamination linked to NFCA Africa mining.